We're live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says no world leader tried to stop Operation Sindoor, reiterates India will treat terror sponsors and masterminds alike. Special discussion of Pahalgam attack and Operation Sindoor continues in the upper house of Parliament. External Affairs Minister to speak today. The NASA ISRO synthetic aperture radar or NISAR all set for launch from India's Sriharikota to set new records in global Earth observation. NISAR satellite capable of all-weather 24/7 mapping of Earth. UK says it will recognize Palestinian state unless Israel substantive steps and agrees to a ceasefire in Gaza. Arab states endorse two-state solution, join the chorus for Hamas to disarm and exit Gaza. US President Trump issues fresh ultimatum to end Ukraine conflict in 10 days or face new sanctions. Russia says it wants peace in Ukraine hours after mounting attacks that killed at least 25 people. A massive 8.7 earthquake off Russia's far east prompts tsunami warnings of waves up to 3 meters, possibly hitting the coast of Russia, Japan and Hawaii. Russian governor asks for calm as tsunami hits Russia's far east. On to the details now. The upper house of India's Parliament, Rajya Sabha, will continue the special discussion on Operation Sindoor with External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and Leader of the House, J.P. Nadda, speaking today. While earlier on Tuesday in the lower house of Lok Sabha, Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke about Operation Sindoor, India's response against Pakistan following the April 22nd Pahalgam attack. He hailed Operation Sindoor as a turning point in India's national security doctrine and a definitive end to Pakistan's long-standing policy of nuclear blackmail.
अमेरिका के उपराष्ट्रपति जी ने मुझे फोन पे बताया कि पाकिस्तान बहुत बड़ा हमला करने वाला है, ये उन्होंने मुझे बताया। मेरा जो जवाब था, जिनको समझ नहीं आता है उनको तो नहीं आएगा, मेरा जवाब था अगर पाकिस्तान का ये इरादा है तो उसे बहुत महंगा पड़ेगा। ये मैंने अमेरिका के उपराष्ट्रपति को कहा। अगर पाकिस्तान हमला करेगा तो हम बड़ा हमला कर करके जवाब देंगे, ये मेरा जवाब था। और आगे मेरा एक वाक्य था, मैंने कहा था हम गोली का जवाब गोले से देंगे। ये 9 तारीख रात की बात है और 9 रात में और 10 सुबह हमने पाकिस्तान को सैन्य शक्ति को तहस नहस कर दिया था और यही हमारा जवाब था, यही हमारा जज्बा था।
Prime Minister Modi also spoke about Operation Mahadev, in which 3 terrorists involved in the Pahalgam terror attack were killed. He questioned the opposition's doubts regarding the timing of the operation.
पहलगाम के हमलावरों को कल हमारे सुरक्षा बलों ने ऑपरेशन महादेव करके अपने अंजाम तक पहुंचाया। लेकिन मैं हैरान हूं कि यहां ठहाके लगा के पूछा गया कि आखिर ये कल ही क्यों हुआ। अब ये क्या हो गया है मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा है। क्या ये ऑपरेशन के लिए कोई सावन महीने का सोमवार ढूंढा गया था क्या? क्या हो गया है इन लोगों को? हताशा, निराशा इस हद तक। और देखिए मजा, पिछले कई सप्ताह से हाँ ऑपरेशन सिंदूर हो गया तो ठीक है, पहलगाम के आतंकियों का क्या हुआ, पहलगाम के आतंकियों का। अब हुआ तो कल क्यों हुआ? और कल ही क्यों हुआ? क्या हाल है अध्यक्ष जी का।
Even before Prime Minister Modi's resounding response, the special discussion on Operation Sindoor, India's bold military operation that avenged the Pahalgam terror attack, took centre stage in both houses of parliament. From sharp debates to emotional appeals, the last 2 days saw an intense exchange between the ruling government and the opposition. Union Home Minister Amit Shah and Defence Minister Rajnath Singh led the charge with powerful disclosures and political rebuttals. Here's a ground report from the Parliament.
Both houses of parliament took up special discussion on Operation Sindoor, the covert military response to the heinous terror strike in Prasar Valley of Pahalgam that killed 26 innocent people in May this year. What followed in parliament over the last 16 hours was a rare show of consensus, punctuated by political heat, but largely driven by one common cause: national security. On Tuesday afternoon, Union Home Minister Amit Shah addressed the Lok Sabha in a detailed response, giving updates, naming facts and firing back at critics. Shah confirmed that the 3 terrorists responsible for the Pahalgam attack were eliminated in a joint armed forces operation just a day before, on Monday afternoon. The Home Minister also detailed the NIA's ongoing investigation, pointing to a larger cross-border conspiracy. He spoke about the detailed investigation of the NIA that has established that the terrorist had come from Pakistan. But his sharpest comments were reserved for the opposition, accusing them of politicizing a matter that, he insisted, transcends party lines.
NIA ने पहले से ही इनको जिन्होंने आसरा लिया था वो लोगों को गिरफ्तार कर रखा था, उनको खाना पहुंचाने वाले लोगों को अपने कब्जे में रखा था। तो जब आतंकवादियों के शव श्रीनगर आए, इनसे पहचान कराई गई। 4 लोगों ने पहचान लिया, यही 3 लोग थे जिन्होंने पहलगाम में आतंकी घटना को।
In the Rajya Sabha, it was Defence Minister Rajnath Singh who opened the debate, recounting the operational precision and bravery displayed during Operation Sindoor. He emphasized that the response was not just military, but moral. Operation Sindoor, Singh said, was a message that India will not forgive nor forget when it comes to the safety of its people.
साफ संदेश देना था कि भारत आतंकवाद के खिलाफ 0 टॉलरेंस रखता है। सभापति महोदय, ऑपरेशन सिंदूर का ओवरऑल पॉलिटिको मिलिट्री ऑब्जेक्टिव यह था कि आतंकवाद के रूप में प्रॉक्सी वार लड़ रहे पाकिस्तान को सजा दी जाए। इसी वजह से आर्म्ड फोर्सेस को पूरी आजादी दी गई थी कि वो अपने टारगेट्स खुद चुनें और उसका करारा जवाब दें।
The opposition too had its say, questioning operational delays, lack of coordination and alleged intelligence lapses. Rahul Gandhi, Akhilesh Yadav and Priyanka Gandhi raised demands for accountability, even as they lauded the forces for their valor. But beyond political lines, there was a somber undertone, a realization that 26 lives lost in Baisaran can't just be numbers in a file.
मैं उन सैनिकों, उन जवानों, उन अफसरों को नमन करना चाहती हूँ जो हमारे देश के रेगिस्तानों में, हमारे देश के घने जंगलों में, बर्फीले पहाड़ियों पे हमारी देश की रक्षा करते हैं, जो हर पल देश के लिए अपनी जान देने के लिए तैयार रहते हैं।
The Lok Sabha has dedicated 16 hours to the discussion and is expected to pass a resolution on Operation Sindoor. The Rajya Sabha will continue the debate on Wednesday. From the floor of the House to the front lines of defense, Operation Sindoor is more than just a military success. It's a reminder of the cost of peace and the price of terror. With Parliament team, Dipyendu Mondal's report for DD India.
And in just a few hours, a historic moment in space exploration will unfold at India's Satish Dhawan Space Centre in Sriharikota. The NASA ISRO Synthetic Aperture Radar or NISAR satellite is set to launch on July 30th, 2025 at 5:40 p.m. IST aboard ISRO's GSLV F-16 rocket. This joint mission between the Indian Space Research Organisation and NASA marks a monumental leap in global Earth observation.
Weighing 2,392 kilograms, NISAR is the first satellite to use dual-frequency synthetic aperture radar, combining NASA's L-band and ISRO's S-band radars with a 12-meter unfurlable mesh antenna. This cutting-edge technology using sweep SAR, for the first time, will scan the Earth's entire land and ice surfaces every 12 days, delivering high-resolution, all-weather, day and night imagery with a 242-kilometer swath. Earlier, Dr. Jitendra Singh, Union Minister for Science and Technology, emphasized its role in climate resilience and sustainable development, noting that NISAR's data will benefit not just India and the US, but nations worldwide, especially developing ones facing climate challenges.
It will be capable of picking up pictures of the surface of Earth up to precision of as small as 1 centimeter. So down from above you can take a picture, a very clear visual of any part of the Earth up to a range of 1 centimeter. And this picturization will keep happening in a cycle almost every 12 days.
NISAR's mission is transformative. It will detect subtle changes in the Earth's surface, tracking ground deformation, ice sheet movements, and vegetation dynamics. From disaster management to climate monitoring, NISAR will provide near real-time data on earthquakes, landslides, floods, and more. Its open data policy ensures free access to this critical information within 1 to 2 days, empowering scientists, governments, and emergency teams worldwide. Developed over a decade with a joint investment of over $1.5 billion, NISAR is a testament to Indo-US collaboration. ISRO's S-band radar and NASA's L-band system integrated at facilities in Bengaluru and California showcase the power of science diplomacy. This launch also marks a milestone for ISRO, as it's the first time a GSLV rocket will place a satellite into a 743-kilometer sun-synchronous polar orbit.
We are going to launch using our 18th GSLV rocket, which is going to use the 12th indigenously developed cryogenic rocket engine. And this is going to give a lot of benefit to the common man of the not only India, global community. And in fact, the satellite can cover the entire world once in 12 days. It can cover the entire world, and it is going to be used for multiple purpose, including Earth observation and disaster warning and mitigation. Multiple purpose. It is going to benefit the common man of. It's a global community, the common man of the global community.
As the countdown begins, the world watches with anticipation. NISAR's launch is not just a scientific milestone, but a symbol of what two democracies can achieve together for the planet's future. Akshay Dongre's report for DD India.
And moving on, the 7th meeting of the India-Nepal Boundary Working Group concluded in New Delhi on Tuesday. During the two-day meeting, both sides reviewed the progress of work done subsequent to the last BWG meeting held in August 2019. The two sides jointly adopted updated modalities for inspection, repair and maintenance of boundary pillars along the India-Nepal boundary and agreed to expedite work in this regard using latest technologies. Well, the BWG meeting also finalized the work plan for the next 3 years. It was also agreed that the next Survey Officials Committee meeting would be held soon in Nepal on mutually agreed dates. And still to come in this edition of DD India Live. US and China end trade talks without a breakthrough aim to extend tariff truce. Fed set to hold interest rates steady as Powell stresses data-driven approach amid political pressure. And in sports, India's Satvik Sairaj, Ranka Reddy and Chirag Shetty cruise into the second round of the Macau Open Badminton Tournament.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Hello. Johar. It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout ho gaya.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Welcome back. You're watching DT India Live. I'm Lupakshi Kuran. And moving on, UK has warned Israel on Tuesday that it will formally recognize the state of Palestine in September unless Israel takes various substantive steps, including agreeing to a ceasefire in Gaza. The potentially landmark move, part of UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer's plan for a lasting peace, came after the British leader recalled his cabinet from recess for urgent talks on the worsening situation in the besieged territory. He said Israel must end the appalling situation in Gaza, agree to a ceasefire and commit to a long-term, sustainable peace, reviving the prospect of a two-state solution.
Our goal remains a safe and secure Israel alongside a viable and sovereign Palestinian state. But right now, that goal is under pressure like never before. I've always said that we will recognise a Palestinian state as a contribution to a proper peace process at the moment of maximum impact for the two-state solution. With that solution now under threat, this is the moment to act.
Meanwhile, Israel has rejected the UK move, arguing it constitutes a reward for Hamas. Israel's foreign ministry said recognition to Palestine harms efforts to achieve a ceasefire in Gaza. Starmer said that Britain was prepared to recognize a Palestinian state in September at the United Nations General Assembly in response to growing public anger over the images of starving children in Gaza. While Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that Starmer has rewarded Hamas' monstrous terrorism and punishes its victims, he said a jihadist state on Israel's border today will threaten Britain tomorrow. Britain, if it acts, would become the second Western power in the UN Security Council to do so after France last week. And French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot said he welcomed Britain's announcement, speaking from the United Nations where he had been co-hosting a conference to urge the world to work toward a two-state solution. Barrot said the moves by Paris and London and the international community aimed to reopen the prospect of peace in the Near and Middle East.
La situation à Gaza.
The situation in Gaza is catastrophic. Gaza is now a death trap where, as I said yesterday at the United Nations General Assembly, bodies bear the scars of famine and minds are plagued by terror. It is unacceptable that women and children are targeted and killed in cold blood in distribution lines for humanitarian aid. It is shameful and must stop.
Also, U.S. President Donald Trump's administration, Israel's closest and most influential ally, has made clear it has no intention of joining others in recognizing Palestinian statehood anytime soon. While traveling back to the U.S. after meeting Starmer in Scotland, Trump said he and Starmer did not discuss London's plan to recognize a Palestinian state. Well, moving on, Arab nations including Qatar, Saudi Arabia and Egypt have international calls for Hamas to disarm and relinquish control of Gaza in a bid to end the conflict. A total of 17 countries, along with the European Union and the Arab League, endorsed a joint declaration at a United Nations conference focused on reviving the two-state solution. The 7-page document called for Hamas to step aside and hand over its weapons to the Palestinian Authority under international supervision and support. And US President Donald Trump escalated pressure on his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin for Russia to make progress towards ending the war in Ukraine or face consequences. Trump said on Tuesday that the United States would start imposing tariffs and other measures on Russia 10 days from today if Moscow showed no progress towards ending its more than 3-year-long conflict in Ukraine. Trump set the 50-day deadline for Putin early this month after repeatedly airing frustration with his opposite number in Moscow for continuing attacks on Ukraine. Trump has threatened new sanctions on Russia and buyers of its exports unless a peace deal is reached. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky hailed Donald Trump's statement after the U.S. president said he would cut the 50-day deadline he set for Russia to 10 days. Zelensky said that Ukraine is ready to work as productively as possible with America to work with President Trump to end this conflict with dignity and lasting peace. And Chinese and American trade negotiators concluded their 2-day meeting in Stockholm without any major breakthroughs. However, both sides described the talks as constructive. The U.S. and Chinese delegations agreed to seek an extension of the 90-day tariff truce on Tuesday. The negotiations came as a truce established in May is set to expire next month, threatening to revive the turmoil that hit in April when the two countries exchanged escalating tit-for-tat tariffs. Addressing the press after the meeting, U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent said that Washington does not want to decouple trade ties with Beijing, but wants to de-risk industries like rare earths and pharmaceuticals. And moving on, a powerful 8.8 magnitude earthquake off Russia's far east has prompted tsunami alerts across parts of the Pacific, including Japan, Hawaii, Russia and Ecuador, and warnings along the California coast. The massive tremor triggered warnings of waves up to 3 meters, possibly hitting the coast of Russia, Hawaii and even Ecuador and Chile along South America's west coast. Japan's weather agency also upgraded its tsunami warning, saying waves of up to 3 meters were expected. Meanwhile, several injured in Russia's far east after the first waves of tsunami hit the coastal town of Severodvinsk. The governor of Kamchatka region urged residents not to approach the coastline. The quake was initially measured at magnitude 8.0, but later upgraded to 8.8 by the U.S. Geological Survey. It struck at a shallow depth of 19.3 kilometers, around 125 kilometers southeast of Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky. And on to some business news now. The U.S. Federal Open Market Committee will release its interest rate decision today. In fact, the U.S. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell is expected to repeat what he has stated in several recent policy meetings, that the Fed will respond to incoming data and the evolving economic situation. Markets widely expect Fed not to cut interest rates this time around. Despite President Trump's repeated calls for Powell to lower the federal funds rate, the U.S. Central Bank last cut interest rates on December 18, 2024 by 25 basis points, bringing the federal funds rate to a range of 4.25% to 4.50%. Since then, the Fed has maintained a pause. Further, the Fed has already projected GDP growth of 1.4% in 2025, down to 0.3% from the March meeting. And on to some sports news now. Asian Games champions Satvik Sairaj, Rankireddy and Chirag Shetty cruised into the second round of the Macau Open Badminton Tournament. In fact, Indio beat Loh Hangji and Nick Eng Cheong of Malaysia 21-13, 21-15 in the opening round. Satvik Chirag started with high intensity and closed out the first game with ease. In the second game, the Malaysians tried to make a comeback, but the Indians stringed together 4 consecutive points to seal the match. In the women doubles, Commonwealth Games bronze medalist Risa Jolly and Gayatri Gopichand suffered a shock opening round exit after losing 16-21, 22-20, 21-15 against the Chinese Taipei pair of Lin Xiaomin and Peng Yue. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India.